call to order the joint board meeting between Western Lane Fire and EMS Authority, Sarasota Valley Fire and Rescue, and the Western Lane Ambulance District. Would you rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's okay. I'll let you do a roll call.
Western Lane and WLFEA directors, Cindy Russell. Here. Linda Stint, Mike Webb,
Here.
Adam Holbrook, Vanessa Bus. Here. Okay. SCFR and WLFEA directors, Stephanie Restrepo. Here. Jim Polisi,
Here.
David Carrillo, Lori Keppel.
Here.
Forms for all three entities. Public comments, So consent agenda consisting of meeting minutes from September 25th, staff reports and correspondence. Would any of the directors like something taken out of the consent agenda for discussion? Perfect, carried on. Consent agenda is adopted. Monthly financials.
So a few things, the auditors were here this week and they have left. We got a glowing report. I don't think they had one finding in, any of it in these. We're tired. Some of the things that you're gonna see change, and they won't change yet, I'm not gonna change them until we get the, once we get the final docket from the auditors, we'll get the final journal entries, and some of the things in the balance sheet that have been annoying me that are still out there that will go away. Are gonna be cash with county, prepaid expenses, deferred revenue, prepaid health, MIH deferred revenue. All those, because we used to be on an accrual method, those will go to a zero balance. So just, I want you guys to be aware of that. And it's just from us moving from the accrual basis to the modified cash. Well, FEA report, I really have nothing to report in the reports other than the WLFEA reports. I just wanted to point out a couple things. The HRA Viva, that's over our percentage or budgeted amount due to the budget or the increase due to the union contract. And then the LoSAP is over the amount, we're required by LoSAP when folks leave and they don't meet the vesting, that we get those funds back, but the funds have to be redistributed amongst those that are in the program. And so that is tied because we got money back, we had to redistribute it, so just so you're aware of that. The OFDDA conference rooms have been booked. I currently have going Vanessa Bus, Linda Stent, and David Carrillo. Your names are on those rooms. We just need to enroll you in the conference, and I have packets for each one of you. If you can just fill out that's flag and then give that back to me so we can get it for the conference, that would be great. And then the last thing that we have, we are trying to move the ambulance billing into WLFEA, and that's gonna kind of be a lengthy process. One of the steps that we need to do though is to get a new Medicaid number under WLFEA, and in order to do that, we have to have a bank account opened up just for those billings under WLFEA's name. So we will need a motion to open a bank account with OPB having the same signer, all of WLFEA's signers for ambulance billing.
Out of curiosity, what's the benefit for having the account be the same as opposed to Western Lane?
Two chance.
We have to, the way we bill it through system design, it's a totally different NPI number, Medicare. So the way they're gonna reimburse it is gonna be through WLFEA, because that's how our new transport license would be under.
Okay. But why?
We're currently paying a lot of money to Image Trend, our charting software. And there's been a shift across the state to go to the state's version, which is free. Essentially, we would have a couple of validations and, you know, a different CAD feed, so we'd have to pay for that, but it's gonna be like a fraction of the price annually. That would be currently paying about 20 grand a year for it. So there would be a substantial savings. And on top of that, in order to comply on the fire side, we have to, there's some work for exporting all of our calls, because SAISLA has always reported under the Western Maine Ambulance platform. And so now we have to work to export all those calls and then import them into the state website. So we're working off of 2 platforms right now. It'd be nice to just be on.
Okay. I'll make a motion to bank account specific for Bill as discussed.
Motion by Director Webb, second by Director Russell, any discussion? Only can you do a roll call vote?
Western Lane Directors, Cindy Russell,
Yes.
Linda Smith, Mike Webb,
Yes.
Adam Holbrook, and Vanessa Bus. Yes. CFR Directors, Stephanie Restrepo. Yes. Jim Fleissy,
Yes.
David Carrillo, Lori Keppel,
yes,
Yes. Hey, Colin? Any questions on financials? So old business, the board retreat, so we've set a date, well. I hate doing this, but a couple of different options for the board to pick from. So it looks like November 6th, which is a Thursday. It can be in the evening, we can do a daytime and just do the whole day, we do an evening, if we do an evening. We'll probably have to split the retreat into 2 different days, which we've done in the past, which typically is what we do. It could be the 6th, and then it could be the 13th for the second day, so 2 Thursdays in a row. I'm leaning that way in that we're gonna propose that we cancel the November board meeting. There's a couple different things, the conference, I'm out of town, and if we have a board retreat on 2 Thursdays, so. And another option would be Saturday, the 8th, we could just do a whole Saturday. Discussion, comments,
My schedule works better with the
Saturday,
flexible. I think they've done all in one day makes a retreat a little bit better.
it does. We wanna do the 8th, Saturday the 8th. And we'll send that out to everybody, or meeting invitation and the agenda. So,
What are the options for location?
it turns out that it's difficult to, some of the locations were not keen on having a public meeting there, because then the public could be allowed to come in and out, so we're thinking that we would do it here.
Okay,
Rob's house was the second.
That was the second vote.
what's that?
Rob's house was.
Rob's house.
On votes.
She said that she works the 8th, she could only do the Thursdays.
Okay. There will be Zoom options. There's one.
In person would be better. But Thursday evening, that was for Lori.
So,
That would work with Keith and Lori, have that in the evening one.
I didn't know Thursday evening, like you said.
Like what kind of evening? We did like 5 to 8, or we did 5 to 9, or
2 3-hour evenings. Should be plenty.
What time works for you, Stephanie?
I just wondering,
Okay.
whatever, are you on 5 typically or 4? 4:30?
4:30?
I could do whatever.
Yeah.
We could supply dinner.
Right.
Okay, so we're back to. We'll do this, the 6th and the 13th in the evenings. Does that work?
Yeah,
Does Director Smith have any preference?
No, Director Stanton, that's okay for you?
That's fine with
me.
I have
There was-
things scheduled on Thursday and Saturday, so.
Can you repeat yourself, please?
I have other things scheduled on Thursday and Saturday.
Isn't scheduled all day, so.
So she can't do either day. On both, on all Thursdays? Or?
Not on the 13th.
No.
I could. Let me look here. I could not do the 6th. I could do the 13th.
She can't.
She can't do 13th. Okay, that's one out of the two.
What time, sorry, were you looking? 4:30, did you say?
I think 5 to 8.
5 to 8? Okay.
On the 6th and the 13th. And then these will be recorded, Director Stan, so you'll be able to see what's the discussions.
So we're doing the 6th and the 13th, 5 to 8 both days.
Yeah, if we don't need the full 3 hours on the 13th, then we certainly will.
And then no board meeting that
We
Thursday.
have, you guys have to vote on that.
Oh, gotcha.
But we're proposing that, so it would be 3 Thursdays in a row for everybody. Okay,
The 20th is the thing up in Seaside.
one was the fire retreat, fire conference. Yeah, that's, yeah. Okay. Let's move on before we intended. So policies from September, the 700s, any comments or questions or concerns about the policies? Awesome. So new business, life partnership.
So, one of the things that happens in the office, during. Well, I guess it starts really in June, and then goes through July and August real heavily is the, fireman application signing. We have to bring in people from outside and it's very complicated. Well, we'd like to partner with Lifelight. And, they would take over all the advertising. They would take over, receiving the money. And then paying us, they would charge us about a 30% fee, which is currently what we're paying for all the advertising and supplies and the current packets for, Life Med. But we wanted to bring this to the board for the board decision.
Would there be an option for somebody to just do round and not air? Within that, okay, so they can vote. And what about people when reach comes out rather than like that not covered?
That would not be covered unless something's changed. We primarily only use Lifeline, and so does the hospital. You know, I won't say that they don't call reach, they usually do, but it seems like they have a lot better luck getting Lifeline averages, so they're definitely the first choice.
What about the airmen at work, which I understand is a competitor with Lifeline, provide the same service, and the other, and understand there's something like $79 a year.
Airmen?
Airmen, they said that our personnel through NASA, when we are airlifted, oftentimes use the airman service.
Is that the same as the Lifeline service?
Yes, it's supposed to be the same.
The same, or do they pay Lifelight then? Because
That,
we can have some control over who we call, but the hospital's gonna call Lifelight.
well, you have Lifeline and you have airman service, basically competing firms providing the same kind of service.
Oh, so they're competitors.
I suspect so.
Yeah.
They're both in the same business, the same industry. What I want, no, in order to,
Is AirMed an insurance or is that an actual air medical service?
so,
I,
medical service.
okay.
Well, what I'm saying is that if the hospital, their first choice is Likeman. Is air flight. You know, when they call for a flight, they're calling that service. They're not, and you can't
Can't pick and
You
choose.
can't pick and choose, so you need to go, it's like saying, I want Kaiser to take care of me here, but Kaiser doesn't come here. You know, and the hospital doesn't call Kaiser first. That's what I'm looking at, is if we offer an insurance for a service that nobody's calling for in this area. Is money down the drain for the consumer.
Is there a solid relationship between P-Health and,
There's a pretty solid relationship, as far as I know.
There's probably, there's two local providers or two providers locally that will come into the area to reach, and Lifeline is more common. One by a long shot that reach is fixed.
They have helicopters as well, they're primarily out of North Bend, is where we would see them. Whereas Lifeline has multiple.
Yes.
bases.
So Lifeline up Lewisburg and,
Cottage Grove, Newport,
Correct.
yeah, sometimes they come up the 95 corridor.
So it's not mandatory that they go with Lifeline. It's just, we're interested in the the ground ambulance.
we do the ground ambulance, but, you're talking here about life plans.
We'd have an option of people could sign up for that, they could sign up for other providers as well.
So they could also sign up for ambulance or.
Yep.
I came across these people at the disaster expo and tell that before I say that's him. So I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just asking them to be in here because apparently they are in this same industry. And,
And I don't-
call to them might be, something to do to find out if they offer the same thing or.
Yeah, we certainly, I mean, make it available to our citizens. I know Massa is an insurance for flights, so, yeah, there's a lot of options. They would not be, it wouldn't be, they wouldn't have to take Lifeline. Or they sign up with us.
I don't know, how would they proceed to, what? These people or anybody else be contacting you or you able to reach out to them?
I'll reach out to her.
And I'm not aware of all the details of what you can with Lifeline, but I'm saying, hey, we've got competitors out there, let's.
And the thing is, I don't know if they wanna take over registering our Lifeman, so that's what this partnership would be. We currently offer Lifeman and Lifelight is willing to take over that registration for us.
Yeah, but it's not contingent on you have to sign up for air.
Right.
So that wouldn't change.
Right,
What I'm just saying is, let's bring in the competitors and see if we get a better arrangement. With somebody else. As opposed to just focusing on a single source, arrangement.
what you're talking about though, this is the wash expense wise, we come out neutral.
right.
And maybe even a little bit better revenue wise, because we get more exposure. I'd love to have an air ambulance option to check off if it's available, so.
Right,
I
and
think
then
all for
the other thing that the community would get with doing this is instead of waiting until July to start your membership. If you moved into the area in November, if you signed up in November, then it would expire at the end of October, so they
Okay.
would get it a year from whenever they
Oh,
enrolled. So we wouldn't have to do this wait thing.
So my question would be our demographics in our community, so you said a lot of people come in to sign up. So how many people would we be losing because they're not savvy with the computer?
They can still come in and bring their membership.
So then what are we saving if we're trying to alleviate that issue? What's the benefit of that?
So when they bring in their membership, we would just turn it over and give it to Lifelight. They would register everything and send the check with their fee deducted.
so we're like a Dropbox for 'em.
Yeah, it would just be a Dropbox, so we don't have to maintain any of that. They would be paying it for us.
I think over time we get fewer and fewer of those, but definitely we have.
I mean, I'm, that would be my concern, people complain about that already.
That was brought up, I brought that up, you know, they like, when we stop by station 2 and drop it off, and then, you know. Chat, I think that's definitely something we don't wanna discourage or lose, so that was something big that we talked about when we.
Cause I think it's still good, get them dropped off over at the sleeping quarters, you don't you?
Mhm.
They just like knowing it's there. So do you need a motion for this?
I would like one.
So I move that we combine forces with Life Flight to do the registration for our life event.
Motion by Director Russell. For second, second by Director Restrepo, any discussion?
This question, is this a WLFEA or Western Lane?
Well, currently the program is under Western Lane, so it would be Western Lane.
We keep going.
That's it. Could we, within a motion, make this a shift over to WLFEA? Or is it best to house in Western Lane for
It's a good question.
offset quicknesses?
I mean, is it,
Probably,
are you going from Western Lane to Wellvia?
I would keep it in Western Lane. At this point,
It could, I mean, that's where the fund is now,
yeah.
is it not? Is it-
It's in the, yeah, it's in the fund is in Western Lane, ambulance.
So,
I think if the public sees. I think we need to introduce them slowly, because Western Lane is one with Life Flight for registration, and then eventually change it over to WLFEA, because then they're gonna see WLFEA, and they're not gonna relate it to the ambulance district. You know, it's sort of
Yeah.
baby step them into it.
you know, and the rest of the state uses fire med instead of life med, so we talked about that, but I think just keep it Western Lane ambulance and life med.
Then I'll make the second.
Okay, motion by Director Russell, second by Director Webb. Holly, can you do a roll call vote for Western Lane ambulance district?
West Lane Directors, Cindy Russell,
Yes.
Linda Stintz,
yes,
Mike Webb,
Yes.
Adam Colebrook, Vanessa Bus.
Yes,
Motion passes. New policies for you, some more 700s. Get a chance to read those, give us any comments. And now director comments. Any directors like to comment?
I went to the retirement
Matt, house.
turnout, and it was a really nice turnout. And I think well received by the community. And I also heard a really good blurb about it on the radio coming into the meeting. And but I thought it was well deserved and put together very nicely.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, it was sad, but it was fun.
What is that kind of showing like that, some of the.
People showing up that Jeremy, I had no idea.
I need to work that.
I didn't know who it was, and he walked up and I asked, John Carney, I was sitting next to me, and I said, who is that? And he goes, that's Jeremy, I used to work with the guy, I didn't know him.
Good showing from the hospital, which was nice. Yeah.
The fire department, can't remember which one it was, lost all their equipment in the fire. Was that
Hauser,
house? Did we, how did that meeting go with all the other departments? Did it get brought up? Is there
Yeah,
anything?
they got brought up. It sounds like they've had just, you know, pouring in of resources and people reaching out, and so they have contacts from everybody in our fire defense board here. And so, I mean, if they need anything from it, reach out, but
Good.
we reached out. Right afterwards, I had a meeting in Coos Bay. And they said that they just had a bunch of resources that they're being offered up to them, so. I think they're still kind of let the dust settle to see
Yeah.
what they need to stay operational, but they've had, yeah, a lot of support, so
So did it wipe out all of their rolling stock?
I believe so. I believe they only had one station. So, and that was a total loss.
And they're self-insured probably.
No, I don't know. Okay, that.
Well, yeah. The state has some pretty good insurance programs for.
Yeah.
For fire districts.
I would hope that's so for sure.
But I heard some comments on social media from their chiefs saying they are not looking for fundraising for it. I'll be scanned by it, so it sounded to me like who had, well, they had a plan, had a way to do it.
That's good.
I'd like to say something here. I'm concerned that we keep delaying dealing with the shift housing issue that you brought up back in March of, let's see, 2023 or so. That we need additional, at least in this building, we're out operating out of this building, housing for our shift personnel. And 2 years ago, I proposed an idea, because I see that the custom built approach that was being pursued was going to be very expensive. And there was something at that time I was thinking about, well, maybe $500,000. But was that was dismissed, and I was canceled, a few other things, and says, okay, I'll just wait. And about well, 6 months or so ago, came out that the project that was being pursued was going to cost $10 to $15 million. And as you brought up, you needed 5 more bedrooms. I said, okay, 5, 15, that's $3 million per bedroom. I've got a hard time convincing voters, especially since our budget, total budget, is 11 million. And so 6 months ago, I researched my suggestion that there were alternatives that were going to be down below $1 million that would provide more than additional housing. And once again, did that again 3 months ago, proposing that there needs to be a committee established, an ad hoc committee, to pursue alternatives in order to bring back into the board what else could be done. And as an example, I brought forth that modular housing could be done, because with modular construction, especially dormitories, which are common with colleges and universities, and workforce housing, that we could have something that would be a double wide at a time for less than $1 million, that is constructed, transported, and installed. Because I had informally asked around, I have to be very careful not to be formal, of course. In that process, I also presented that 2 districts that received $1 million grants. The solution done by one was to actually purchase a triple wide house for $375,000. And what is it all? A home is a kitchen, a living room, a dining room, utility room, and a whole mess of bedrooms and bathrooms. And I showed what he had gotten, which consisted of 7 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and then it had a large kitchen area, a large what's called a great room, dining areas and so forth. These can always be sliced up with curtain walls and made into additional bedrooms. I mean, this is my forte. I'm in property maintenance, property management, and so it's very easy to add additions of 7 bedrooms to easily become a whole dozen or so. An ad hoc committee only requires the chairman of the board to say, mayor committee, who wants to volunteer? This is what report needs to come back from that committee. Director Pelosi and myself have volunteered. None to come from the Western Maine ambulance district, but then again, we had the urban housing over by constables from Indian I was concerned. But all it takes is the chairman, perhaps of the Saginaw Valley Fire and Rescue, to say, hey, let's have a committee, a fact-finding committee, go out there, get the information and bring it back.
Well, we do have a committee, it's you and Director of Police.
It has not been formalized.
And we were going to talk about that at board retreat, that was pretty clear.
That is something for the retreat.
One of the things I was talking about too, is that you brought it up to discuss it as part of the capital plan. Well, we were once again delaying. The sooner we get the information, the sooner we can be making decisions. And so what we need now is just to find out what alternatives are out there. what are the possibilities? Because what I suggest is only one, there could be others. And so.
You're assuming that we have.
Put that together, then we can come in, because you talk about a capital plan. Right, how much is it gonna cost to? Well, we need a report to come back to say, this is what we found. We can now formally approach various manufacturers, say, what can you actually do? This is kind of what I think our needs are, what are the costs gonna be, and come back with some more solid figures.
And I think the important part is brainstorming with the staff that have to stay in it for more so than us just tackling and going to find something. Does it meet the needs of the people that are staying in it?
Which is
So
why
part of
I-
the board retreat was going to be engaging with our people that are living in those units to see what that looks like for them and have a really thoughtful conversation. But I think if you would like to go out and start blazing a trail, I think that we would let you go blaze a trail. But I think as a board on this side, we'd like to do it more thoughtfully, talk to the staff, come as a united front instead of just forcing something that we really aren't prepared to just go after.
I already mentioned to the chief that he has to be part of the committee, for obvious reasons.
We've been working on it. This has
Chief
been
does not have to be part of your fact finding. If it's a board committee, then the chief can be brought in as a consultant,
Yes,
but he is not part of that committee.
correct.
If we ask the chief to form a committee, then he is part of the committee. But if you're asking the board chairman to do a committee, chief is not part of it. He is a consultant only.
I totally agree with that, because I'm asking for a board level committee as opposed to a staff committee. And yes, we need to bring in the people who are going to be using these facilities. Because they can tell us, this will work, that won't work, on a consulting basis. But we need to have something official in writing saying, this committee is ad hoc committee is hereby formed, this is what it is, who's on it, and what the product is to be, and perhaps the timetable. Very basic stuff. And
And I think a lot of that can be discussed at our
At our retreat.
retreat
And do know,
and come up with the parameters of this
I
committee.
also know we have truly been working on this since we purchased this lot back in, how long ago was that? 15 years ago?
Yeah.
So we've been considering alternatives for this on and on and on.
Yes, but 15 million, and I'm proposing less than a million, and I would.
15 million dollars.
Too long, we will not lose the opportunity.
$15 million
$1 million grants, like 2 districts have already received.
The $15 million opportunity was an opportunity to participate with the legislature for a potential money bucket that we could have had. That was cost estimate that we had from the architect on building something that was a dream house. Was the only thing we had on paper that we could submit at the time.
Well, I just hate to see our first responders sleeping in Murphy beds at the end of this conference room, when, bringing in a modular takes 6 to 12 months or so, and that was proposed.
Well, we have a fire station over on Oak Street that we could reconvert or modify without buying anything.
That's an idea, all these alternatives to bring up into rivers in the community. Does the Western Maine Fire, Western Maine Ambulance District, wanting to have a member on the committee?
At this point, I don't have time, so I'm not stepping on the committee, I'm kind of got my bucket full.
But we still said policeman, why?
Yeah, we had 2 people that were willing to serve on that, we've got staff that are willing to help.
And if it's helpful at all, I mean, being not so far removed from the line myself, I am more than willing to get input to bring to the board retreat. For those that can't make the retreat, I mean, staff are welcome, but for those that can't make it, I can start getting a list of, needs, wants.
It may be also useful if the chief were to provide a history of all the alternatives we've already explored.
The director, Buzz brought up a real good point. Definitely staff has to be involved, because NFPA was 1710, I believe. We have to really be looking at those aspects of 17, and there's a few others, I can't remember their numbers. But, regarding station designs, it's not that easy just to build and go into a triple wide, for example. There's warm zones, cold zones, hot zones. We have to have decon areas, cancer prevention, everything for staff. And that's why some of these triple and double wides that they're using, they're not permanent structures. They're being utilized while they develop a new location or a new building or rehab or whatever. So, because when you build a firehouse, and I built two, you're looking at a structure that's gonna be around for 60, 70 years. So you wanna build for the future. You have to anticipate growth in the community, but more importantly, the health and safety of personnel using it. If you look at the new fire stations that are being built, my son is at a new one down in Riverside County. It's nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, they have the decon rooms, the showers before they even go into the living quarters. They even have a sauna in there, so when they're done showering and getting all the gunk off them, they go into the sauna to sweat out everything, shower up again, and right there's a new set of uniforms for their, and they dry out on their knee, then they're allowed to go back into the living quarters. When I was a firefighter, we'd go to bed with our turnouts next to our beds. You can't do that anymore. That's dirty. That's gotta stay in the apparatus room.
Well, you bring up a lot of good points here. These are things that need to be brought up in the committee,
And that's,
as opposed to here.
you know, I'd love for staff to prepare what their needs are. Give us some things to look at.
Yeah.
You know, things that are gonna be efficient, safe, clean, and healthy. Cause we don't want that to just going through the garbage that we went through. Make sure, you know, we never cleaned our turnout. He just went back on the rig and was like, oh, I remember that fire, you know, it'd be whiffing off your turnout goes. I mean, that was the big deal. Go back with stinky turnouts, not anymore. So. But yeah, I mean, that we have options. You know, and I do wanna make this clear, we need it to be everything in one location. We don't need staff hiking across streets and down alleyways and God knows wherever else. Because you got potential worker complaints. And that's gonna cost us. Or cost us long term, you know, they go running out. Whatever wind's supposed to be tomorrow, I heard 60, gust up to 60 miles an hour. Yeah, that would be fun to run in.
Well, once again, all these things are.
We gotta bring it up at
As
the
opposed to take
tree.
your time.
Yeah. Yeah, that grant would have been wonderful. Still annoyed,
Is that the number one?
Keep it, good, Sean.
very annoyed. You guys put in a lot of work, you know. But you didn't get it. I read what some people got and I'm still floored. I'm like, really? Okay. I guess it's who you know.
Simple.
So the 6th and the 13th, correct?
Yes. Any other director comments? So next board meeting is scheduled for November 20th. We have the OFDDA conference and several directors are out. I'm out of town as well. So proposing, and we had to move it up a week because of Thanksgiving. Proposing that we cancel that.
Just do a December meeting. December is probably gonna be moved up a week or so.
Correct. The 18th.
Should we set the, do we have the dates already set for the December meeting? So we just need a motion to cancel the November meeting. So moved.
Motion by Director Russell,
Second.
second by Director Gleason. Roll call vote. Polly?
West Elena WLFEA Directors, Cindy Russell,
Yes.
Linda Stentz,
Yes,
Mike Webb,
Yes.
Adam Fulbrook, Vanessa Bus.
Yes.
SBFR WLFEA Directors, Stephanie Restrepo. Yes. Jim Felice.
Yes.
David Perillo, Lori Hagel.
Yes.
Yes.
We will see everybody on November 6th
At 5 o'clock, right?
here. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. Yeah.
What do you need? Sidebar?
Yes, I will, yeah.
Principal's office.
Yeah.
Do I need to bring my union rep?
And that's just.